So moving forward, guys, I welcome you all to the third tutorial and fourth video of this series. Today we'll be learning about another component called the drop down menu. So guys, at the end of the day, we should be able to achieve something close to this, or if not better than this. So I'm just going to play this prototype and let's see what we have. All right, so this is just a normal app bar or navigation bar, with a drop down. This is a hamburger menu. So when I click on this, you can see we have a nice drop down menu here with the links, the nav links, and when I click on it, it slides up back. So this is just going to be a very simple tutorial. We won't be wasting time doing a lot of stores because it's going to be very easy for us to achieve and accomplish together. So we're going to start by creating a new project. So I'm just going to head over to File and click on New. Alright, so I'm just going to click on the Google Pixel 6, or you can use iPhone 13 Pro Max if you want, but I'm just going to stick to the Google Pixel and use it as the artboard for me. Alright, so we'll just wait for it to load, and then the first thing I'm going to do is to rename this to navigation bar, or for short we'll call it navbar. So for those of you that don't know what I did, I just double tapped on it or double clicked on it, and it showed me this. Okay, I'm just going to type navbar and tap enter. Alright, so our first artboard, which you can see on the left panel or on the left side of Adobe XD, it's the navbar. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just to drag my rectangle here. I'll just drag it over here to just make a small rectangle, something like an app bar that you can see on the mobile app. Okay, so this is it, something like this. I'm just going to increase the width of it a bit, and I'm just going to change the color to the fill color to black. Okay, changing this to black. All right, so I'm going to take away the border. Okay, then I'm just going to get my text tool and type. So I tapped T on my keyboard to activate my text tool, or you can just head over to the tools bar and click on T. It will pick your text tool for you. All right, I'm just going to type graphics. Okay, and I'm just going to drop my tool. Okay, and I'm going to let me increase the size. First of all, I will change the font size to poppins. So for those of you that don't have poppins, just head over to the let's say www.1001 font. Yes, I suppose you can download whatever font you want. All right, so I'm just going to increase this a bit, and I'm going to adjust this. Okay, just adjust this like this. All right, so I'll just format it a bit and change this to semi-bold. Then let's see, I'll change this VIX by highlighting only the VIX. I just want to change the color to make it a little bit attractive. First of all, I would love to change the entire color to white like this. You can see FFFF is the color code. All right, so now I'm just going to double click on this and just drag my mouse over VIX to just change the color. So I'm just going to change the color to, let's say, blue. Okay, so I'm just trying to do something a little bit different from what I showed you earlier. Okay, I don't like this blue, it's too dull, so I'm just going to change it again. Okay, so like this. All right, so this is fine. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is to build our hamburger menu. So guys, I'm going to do that by going to my pen tool. Then I'm just going to click to make a point here and hold down my shift to make sure I get a straight line. Click to get another point. And if you notice, this line is going to be attached to the points we have made. So all I'm going to do is just to hold the escape key of my keyboard to detach it from it. All right, I'm just going to set the stroke width to 3. Okay, then I'm going to change the color to white. So I guess if you are following me, you should have something like this on your screen too. So I'm going to duplicate this by holding down Ctrl+D. I'm just going to duplicate it 3 times, and I'll make sure I have a space of 10 pixels between them. Ctrl+D again, make sure I have a space of 10 pixels between them. Alright, so I'm just going to select these 3 layers together and group them. So Ctrl plus G to group, and I'm going to save it as let's say hamburger menu. Okay, so there we have it. So I'm just going to shift it to this place, to this point we have here. Alright, so this is all we need for this first screen. We have the graphics, that's the name of the app, and the hamburger menu. So I'm just going to duplicate this artboard, Ctrl plus D. Alright, so we have it too now, and I'm going to name this by double clicking on it, and I'm just going to change it to drop down menu. Alright, doesn't matter whatever we spell, drop down menu is just for identification purpose. Okay, drop down menu. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is very, very simple. I'm just going to create the menu aspects. That's, first of all, I want to delete this. I want to delete this, okay, together with this title. In fact, I'm deleting everything on the page, so I'm just going to highlight over it like this. Make sure I delete everything. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to pick my rectangle tool again, as usual, then just draw. Okay, draw it over like this. Nice. And I'm just, first of all, I'm going to change the fill color to dark. Let's use this color. So I picked my eyedropper tool to just select this color. Okay, so I'm just going to take it upwards like this. Nice. Okay, so I'm just going to drag this down a bit so it will just occupy the screen, let's say half of the screen or half of the artboard. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to select these two. I'm going to select the name of the app name, and the hamburger menu. So I'm just going to select it by holding down Control, then I'm going to hold down, okay, or instead I'm just going to, from this place, I'm just going to hold down Control and hold down Control 2. That is, I'm holding Control, the Control key on my keyboard, and I'm holding the Control key on my keyboard to select both of them at once. And I'm just going to copy, that is Control plus C, come over to this artboard and Control plus V, paste. So we have it on this board now. Alright, okay, so what I want to do next is to just create some dummy nav links so we can have something busy on our screen. Alright, so I just hold down T on my keyboard to activate my text tool, and I'm just going to type home. Okay, and this is getting more interesting. Let's take it to this point here. Alright, so this is too big for the home, so I'm just going to set it to font size 20. So sizing is very important. Okay, so I'm going to pick my pen tool again and just draw just like a border button. In CSS we call it border button. Alright, I'm going to click on this point tool. And now what do we do to this clingy line attaching to our point? Hold down the the escape key. I'm going to hold it down, and I'm going to set the fill, not the fill, actually the border. I'm going to set it to white. Okay, so there we have it. So this is it. Alright, so if you like, you can take it to 2 points, but 1 is enough for me. 1 point is enough for me for the stroke width. Alright, so we have our home. Also, what I'm going to do now is to hold down the home. This is my layer panel. Look at layer panel. For those of you that don't know, layer panel, if you are not seeing this, just come to this section of your Adobe XD and click on this. So alright, so I'm just going to click on the home, and I'm going to click on this line, which is the stroke. Can you see it? And if you have watched my previous series before, I talked extensively on the repeat grid, an efficient way of duplicating text and the rest. So I'm not just going to talk about it now, understand, to save us more time. But before I do that, I'm just going to Ctrl D to duplicate this and bring it down. I'm sorry about the dogs barking in my neighborhood. It's just a normal thing for them to disturb me anytime I'm making my tutorials. Alright, so I'm just going to make a few adjustments to this. I will take the line up like this. Okay, and I'm just going to take this line up too. Okay, I will just still shift it further a bit. All right, like 10 pixels apart. All right, I'm just going to double click on this and change this to, let's say, about. Okay, then I'm just going to change the color to white to differentiate that, okay, this is not an active link. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is to make sure I'm on the right part, which is this. Okay, but before that, I'll just change the font weight to medium. Okay, or let's say to regular. Okay, this is better. All right, I'm going to click on the part 5 and Ctrl G to group them. Okay, so at this point, I can now come over to the repeat grid, which I've talked about before, and just spread it over like this. Okay, let's say I need 4 other navigation links like this. All right, so I'm just going to spread it 4 times. And like I've explained in my previous video tutorials, you can also spread it vertically and horizontally if you want, but we only want that. So I'm just going to drop this now, then come over and start editing them. I'm going to change this to services. I'm going to change this to let's say portfolio, and I'm going to change this finally to contacts. Okay, so currently we have something we can use. Okay, so I'm just going to set a drop shadow, just a small drop shadow effect to this, to make it more realistic. This is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. So this is the x-axis. We don't want anything on the x-axis, but we want something on the y, which is the vertical axis. So that's why I'm increasing the value on the y-axis. And if you notice, you can notice this. Let me zoom into it. So if you can notice, there's this drop shadow effect, just very little, of which that's exactly what we want. So I'm just going to leave it at 8. All right, so the next thing I want to do is to group the entire drop down page, or let's say drop down, what do you even call it again? Let's say drop down menu. All right, I'm just going to Ctrl G. So if I group it and I disable the visibility, you will discover that it's gone. So when I bring it back, it's there. So I'm just going to call it drop down. All right, so this is where the fun part comes, which is the prototype. I really love the prototype aspect of Adobe XD and Figma. All right, so I'm just going to head over to the prototype, as you can see. And now I'm just going to click on this like this. I'm just going to click on this part. Actually, we didn't group this, so I'm just going to group this and this, the hamburger menu and the app bar, the app name, which is graphics. So I'm just going to group it and say app bar. Okay, so you can see they are together now. All right, so I'm just going to group same thing with this. Sorry about that. So same thing with this, I'm just going to group these two, Ctrl G, call it app bar, so they'll be together. All right, so what I'm going to do next is to click on the hamburger menu. I'm going to click on it once, I'm going to click on it twice. All right, so I'm just going to drag it over to this page here, like this, as simple as that. And I'm going to set the transition, I'm going to set the type to auto animate like this. And I'm just going to set it to, let's say snap. Okay, and I'm just going to give it 8 seconds, 0.8 milliseconds, or 0.8 seconds, I suppose. Okay, I'll set the duration to 0.8 seconds. And likewise, I'm going to head over to this page, click on this, the drop down, and I'm also going to click on this once, okay, and click on the hamburger menu twice. And I'm just going to drag this over to this place, that's to the first artboard with this animate type and the same snap with, let's say, 0.8 seconds easing. Okay, for the duration. All right, so let's test what we have. So I'm just going to click on the first artboard, click on this. So once I click on this, you can see, beautiful, isn't it? Let me just drag it over here so we can see what we have. So once I click on this, it goes back, you can see. but this is not what we really want. Like in the preview I showed, this is not what we want, but we're actually very close. So what we're going to do, since we have set the animation, or we have set the type, the action type, to auto animate, so it's going to be very easy for us to do or proceed to the next phase, which is this now. So I'm just going to duplicate the drop down, this drop down we have done together. I'm just going to duplicate it by saying, or by holding down Ctrl D on my keyboard, and I'm just going to drag it over to this part here. All right, so you know what, I'm going to drag it upwards like this because I want it to come, from the top downwards, you can see. So you will notice that, okay, there's a prototype link to this first page, and this is not what we want. So I'm just going to drag this back. If you notice, it's coming from this prototype we set, this instance we set here. So I'm just going to take it back, so we don't have any linking to this apart from it coming from the top. Okay, so if you notice now, this is on the pasteboard, you can see. So if you notice, it's on the pasteboard, and if I click on the play, you can see nothing is happening, right? Nothing is happening. Still what we were doing before, see, nothing new has happened. All right, so let's do something different now. So what I'm going to do now is to drag this. You can see I'm clicking outside the pasteboard. You can see this is the pasteboard. You can see this is the artboard and this is the pasteboard. All right, so let's know the difference. So once I click on it, this drop down is already on the pasteboard. So let's just drag it inside like this. You can see. So once I drag it inside like this, Adobe XD will sense that, okay, there's an animation process going on. It has noticed another instance of this because it's 2 now on both artboard. You can see. And once I take it back to the artboard like this, you can see, once I click outside, it's disappeared. You can see, so very cool, and some people will call it magical, but it's not. It's just a process, just understanding. You understand? And if you are following me, or if you have been following me from the beginning of this tutorial, you'll discover that it's going to be a very easy thing for you to do at the end of the day. So you can notice it's no longer on our pasteboard, it's now a part of this. As a matter of fact, we can't even see it right now. So let's try this out. Let's see what's going to happen. All right, I'm just going to click on the play button, and when I click on this, wow, this is excellent. So you can see, so smooth, so sweet. All right, I'm actually very excited here. It's very emotional to me. Don't mind me, I'm just playing around. All right, so once I click on this back, it folds back like this. It folds back, as simple as that. So if you can notice, because I set the duration to 0.8 seconds, it's quite slower. If you want it faster, you can just come over to the duration aspect or the duration side and increase or reduce the duration to whatever you want, and it to be slower or it to be faster, whatever you want. But I believe this is okay with me. So if you notice, once I click on this, you can see it's back, but it's not on the pasteboard still. This is the pasteboard, it's not on the pasteboard still. Because why? It's now, once I click on this artboard, it's now part of this artboard, you can see. And a very quick tip for you to know, once an element is on the pasteboard, which is this place, this this grayish background, once an element is on it, it's very difficult, it's not even possible for you to create an animation between artboard with it. So it has to be connected to an artboard. So that's why once I click on this, it's connected to this artboard now. So if I click on this, it's not going to show, but once I click on this, it's connected to this artboard, so hence the animation can work. All right, so let's still play with it again. So once I click on this, you can see nice drop down, click on it, it folds back like this, and well, that's so beautiful. So guys, we're able to complete the third tutorial for this series. Join me in our next series as we'll be talking about the old carousel, or carousel, whatever you may call it. Don't forget to share this YouTube channel with your friends and loved ones, because there are a whole lot of great content people love to see. If you are new to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe, show me some love, like this video and share it. God bless you all.